Welcome to this edition of the MDM podcast. I'm Mike Hockett, our executive editor. MRO supplies distributor Kimball Midwest is celebrating 100 years in business throughout 2023, so it's a good time to catch up with the Columbus, Ohio-based company, which held steady on MDM's 2023 top distributors list after its 2022 revenue jumped more than 25% versus 2021. The company has been family-owned and operated since its inception, and that includes current President Patrick McCurdy III, who is flanked by his father and Kimball Midwest CEO Pat McCurdy and Uncle Dave McCurdy as COO. Patrick joined me for this episode to discuss what his first year and a half have been like leading the company's day-to-day operations during such an interesting time in the market. We also discussed Kimball Midwest training and development efforts that have earned numerous accolades in recent years, the company's business performance in 2022 and so far this year, its recent digital initiatives, and Kimball Midwest's extensive involvement in giving back to its communities. I also want to promote that MDM's 2023 Top Distributors webcast will air June 8th at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, which will be your first look at this year's rankings. And our feature PDF that includes our rankings list across 17 different product verticals will be released shortly after. You won't want to miss it. In the meantime, enjoy the podcast. All right, Patrick, industrial distribution is filled with a lot of long-standing companies, including a small but growing number that have hit the century mark. But 100 years in business is certainly still worth celebrating. So what does Kimball Midwest reaching 100 years of operation this past year mean to you and the team there?
You're right. There's not a lot of organizations that make it to this milestone. So we wanted to take some time to make it special because there's a lot of things that go into making it possible. Most of those are stories that we get to celebrate, though, about a lot of people, associates that have been here, about our customers, our suppliers, the communities we live in. And we've really tried to make it a year-long campaign and taken a lot of time to try to get out and recognize and tell those stories, because ultimately being a people business for us, that's kind of the critical fabric of what makes it work. And there's good family stories in there. There's good associate stories, and it's been fun. We're now about 4 months in, and great to see the value of going through this process from a lot of people.
You became Kimball Midwest president at the start of 2022, having joined the company in 2006, and then leading the company's sales and marketing operations in different roles for most of the past decade. What has your first year and a half leading the company's day-to-day been like during such an interesting time in the market, just economically, labor-wise, everything going on? What's it been like for you so far?
It's been really enjoyable. I've had a chance to really get to work with and learn from a lot of our associates. Grateful to have their experience, a lot of our customers, a lot of our vendors, because we're all facing these challenges together. Like you said, there's a great deal of things that we're facing that are somewhat unprecedented, or at least it's been a long time since people have had to deal with them. So we've been really fortunate, or I think I've been really fortunate in this first year and a half to still have my father and uncles around to help me, to still have a lot of my siblings and cousins that are in the business around to be supportive, and then to have the great team of people that we have here that have made it really enjoyable, even though there are challenges and we're trying to find ways to adapt and overcome. So I think having that time and that experience and all those people around has really made a big difference, and it's certainly allowed me to adjust and adapt to a new role and certainly the environment we all face.
Kimball Midwest has garnered numerous awards over the past few years and beyond for its learning, training, and development efforts, for being a top company to sell for, and for being a top workplace. And certainly, I don't think anyone gets into distribution for the awards, but they are nice to get, and it can be a great recruiting tool in today's challenging labor climate. So can you touch on a few of these recent rewards and what you think they say about the company?
Yeah, I can definitely touch on a few. The first would be probably the top workplaces that you mentioned. And just knowing that that's multiple years in a row, that's based on the feedback from our associates as they get surveyed and scored, and really meaningful to us to know that we continue to produce an environment that associates feel respected, connected, and appreciated, and that we can also take the time to learn from those responses. So we also get to use the the surveys and the process of that recognition to get better in areas. And we've really been able to enjoy doing that, whether it's in our benefits areas, how we handled even things like the remote and flexible working schedules. So those have been really valuable on a lot of levels. And then the other ones, like you mentioned, some of the training ones have been great. Apex Training recognized us, and a couple others, which to us is that testament to wanting to be a people business. A lot of what we think we need to make sure we're investing in is the careers of our associates. To do that, we need to get really good at training and making sure that you deliver the right experience when it's needed to allow associates to grow and thrive. And so when we see those kinds of recognitions, they do feel a little extra special, because it means that we're hitting the mark for things that hopefully make our associates' lives better. And ultimately, by doing that, that carries forward to our customers and communities as well. So really, really excited to see that recognition, but grateful to the people that make it possible. We have great training development departments. They recognize that, I think, in a couple of those awards. And so we've been really fortunate to have great leadership in that space, making that possible.
Sure, and it's definitely worth noting that some of these awards, I think most of them, they've been, successive years that Kimball Midwest has earned them, multiple years running, not just the first time that the company's earned the reward. It's been, you guys have really been racking them up lately, and it's great to see. On that note, back in 2021, MDM interviewed Kimball Midwest Director of Talent Development, Kate Callison, about how the company revamped its training and development programs during the pandemic, and not just for the sales staff. That certainly seems to have paid off, given those aforementioned awards that the company continues to earn. Can you touch a little bit on what those programs looked pre-COVID compared to what they are today?
Yeah, I think probably like a lot of organizations, pre-COVID, so much of our training was on site and in person, and we could really kind of be shoulder to shoulder. That changed really quickly in March of 2020, and Kate and her team, there were a lot of people there that pivoted, and they pivoted to make sure that we don't lose focus on people, that we don't lose focus on what was needed at different stages in development, but that we really did change our mindset of how we deliver that content, and how do we make sure that we use the resources we have to make maybe small local groups possible, and yet still provide the technology and the material needed. And so I think our biggest pivot was away from on-site to a little more virtual. Probably like a lot of organizations, we started looking much more heavily at learning management solutions and software that would allow us to do that. So we're in process with those types of things. And then we still, though, measured kind of the same way. And one of the neat things I think we found was we could be as productive, if not more, doing things that way. So I think we've learned great lessons. There's value in that over the challenging couple of years, but that team has done just an outstanding job of still producing meaningful training that impacts the organization, our associates, and makes a big difference for everyone. So just very fortunate to have had that happen, and a lot learned. What feels like 3 years, maybe, or feels like 30 years, was in 3. We made a lot of jumps forward and a lot of progress.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to hear these stories of how distributors had to adjust on the fly like that. Some of them, I think, like Kimball Midwest, were in great shape already on the training front going into COVID, but certainly there was a lot of scrambling going on across the board. But yeah, it's nice to see what you guys were able to do once it hit. We're recording this podcast as we at MDM are getting set to release our 2023 top distributors list, where Kimball Midwest will be represented nicely again after seeing its revenue jump from $350 million in revenue in 2021 to $440 million in 2022. And while nearly all industrial distributors benefited from the pricing environment of the past 2 years, they were happy to ride the inflation wave. What can you say about the company's business performance in 2022 and so far this year?
Well, first, we're always, grateful to be recognized by the MDM Group. I think that's been something that has meant a lot to our organization, and it's very credible for us when we're in the field talking with customers and suppliers about who we are and what we're doing. So excited about that, and then excited and grateful for the results we've had in the last year and a half. When organizations go into challenging times, you don't really know what's going to happen. And so you're trying to do the best you can and execute effectively. And we were really lucky to have great people that found ways to help our customers thrive. And I think that's probably our biggest takeaway in these challenging times, because there was, like you said, inflation, and there have been other headwinds that are out there that face a lot of organizations today, and yet ultimately, certainly still think it's a people business. And for us to be able to get on site and be able to help customers, still providing online support. There's a lot of material out there on why and how important that is. Making sure that we're helping out there, but being on site, helping customers solve problems every day. We found a way to really have success. And so really last year in 2022, we had really a great year. Look forward to seeing the rankings and how those come out. And yet as some of the pricing elements start to slow, as some of the supply chain elements start to come back to a little more of what we call traditional, we're then saying, how do we hit the accelerator? How do we make sure that we bring all of that together in 2023? And we are off to a pretty good start. We've had a couple record months out there, and most importantly, though, when we look out at what's happening, our associates continue to grow their careers, and we continue to support customers. And I think if we can stay centered there and being a partner for our customers and helping associates thrive, that we can continue to achieve these results and really some incredible growth together. So it's a good start, a lot of momentum, but there's definitely a lot of noise around, I think, every business today, and trying to sift through the noise to get to the outcomes we want is a great challenge.
Right. Definitely, it seems like there's a lot of economic red flags out there, but like you said, it seems like we've been seeing these economic red flags for most of the past year, and a lot of distributors are still reporting good numbers, a lot of backlog out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how distributors navigate the economy going forward, given what everyone's saying out there. Kimball Midwest closed 2022 in pretty big fashion by opening its new 142,000 square foot distribution center in Newtown, Connecticut in November. Can you touch on what the early returns have been from that new facility in terms of what it's done for the company's logistics network?
Yeah, our footprint is very heavily an American footprint, right? So it's awesome for us to have a location like that where it's a significant part of the population in the United States. And we're able to then deliver next day support and products to our customers at a greater rate now because of the location in Newtown. And so really grateful that we found a spot there that worked, grateful for that community, and excited to think what it'll help us do as we continue to allow it to come up online more and more effectively and fit into our distribution network across the country. We think we can then hit a significant part of the country next day. And just fortunate that we have really leadership that was willing to go up there and help get it started. So we were able to have continuity in our culture as we had some people go to Newtown and go through the process of getting it ready for the opening and up and running. And when we can do that, we just think we have success and alignment with our outcomes and goals that we're trying to set. So we think it puts us in a great position for future growth, as well as supporting the existing network today. And as you would understand, I think when we have some of the numbers we've had in growth, the distribution part is a big part of what we have to get right. And another area that we've had outstanding leadership there to make sure that happens and that part of our business grows along with every other part. So just a great space for us, and we're excited about seeing how that continues to make a difference in our footprint in the United States.
All right. We talk a lot about digital transformation topics here at MDM, and we love to hear the new things that distributors have implemented or that they're currently infusing to their business. So are there any recent digital initiatives at Kimball Midwest or any recent upgrades that you can share about?
Yeah, I think actually this is one where MDM's helped us with some of the data and elements that we have. So really excited to continue to use that effectively. We want to make sure that we meet customers' needs by leveraging the information that's available, just I think like everyone does these days. And so, you hear often talking about technology and artificial intelligence or how to be more systemic in things. And certainly we're trying to get involved in all of those programs. But, our outcome at the end of the day is to use that data effectively, to make sure that it's information so that we can empower individuals to go in and talk to a customer about what they need, sometimes before they know they need it, right? That that we're able to take logical groupings and stratify some accounts and be able to show some best practices that really we think can be great solutions for our customers. And so as we do that and we put that kind of target marketing together and make sure that we continue to move towards being a sales and marketing organization that understands customer needs, that we're using the right amount of information, both from great sources as well as the boots on the ground side of it. We have these relationships with customers, and if we put all of that together, we think we have a great opportunity to really meet customers where they want us to meet them and deliver on the expectations they have of us. So for us, the biggest digital initiatives really are mostly in that leveraging the data part effectively and using that the right way. Certainly, we've got a great push in our e-commerce platform, like a lot of places do, to make sure that it meets the needs of our niche business. And so we're constantly working on that as well. And I think maybe the last one that's always fun is in distribution, right? It's always good to talk about, I think, the ones that are going out towards our customers and suppliers, but we're also looking at making sure that we can run our distribution centers the most efficient way possible. And how do we continue to use technology to do that? There's just an abundance of it available, and you have to find the ones that meet your needs best. So we're looking at some of those solutions as well, and excited to stay focused on being able to get those products out every day when customers need them.
Charitable organizations have long been a key component to Kimball Midwest culture, as your father, Pat, and Uncle Dave were both very involved in supporting a number of local organizations, and I know you are very involved as well. And I should mention that you guys started the year announcing a campaign to donate $1 million across the country as part of your ongoing centennial celebration. Can you talk a little bit about why that community involvement is so important to the team there at Kimball Midwest?
Yeah, I think we certainly have felt like our communities have been so critical for us, right? In 100 years, there's been a lot of things we've been through collectively together, and we wanted to make sure that we could recognize that we really think we're part of trying to keep America running, and that distribution, really is a key element in that for all of us. And so we wanted to give back and make sure that we recognized that we play that role and we have that opportunity, and so we're excited about it. And my sister, Megan, has been a big part of leading this campaign, and we've really had some great outcomes from it. We just had our annual sales meeting, and we've partnered with a K9 for Warriors program, and excited to be supporting that group and what they do to help veterans when they come back with canines and dog programs and other things there. So that's was a big one recently. We did our one in Dallas where we supported Mission Arlington. It was just a great group there that does a heck of a lot, both physically, emotionally, spiritual needs for their community. We were able to have them in and present them with the donation into our distribution center. The distribution centers got to pick who they felt was most impactful for them and in their community. So we'll be doing those at all the distribution centers. All of our regions will be coming up with the local community areas that they want to recognize, and we're just super excited about being able to give back and doing it because we know that we've been such a great part of these communities have been such a great part of our story that we need to make sure we reciprocate that effectively when we can. And it's anything from those big things that are dollars to little things like just empowering our associates to see where they can be a part of this 100-year celebration. And I think we had a recent one where somebody recognized we had a bunch of extra computers, and so we were able to put them together and get those off to a local charity or run the race that helps after school kids. It helps kids have an after school place to go and study and learn and be in a good environment. And certainly been a group that we've supported for a long time, but to be able to get the technology to them is helpful. So I think there's a lot of pillars that are at play when you're an organization. There's constituencies that you want to be a part of helping and supporting. And for us, we're hoping that in this 100 years, which, as we talked about earlier, not a lot of businesses really make it to, we want to do something special and recognize the role that those groups have played for us. So we're recognizing our associates, we're recognizing our communities, our vendors, our customers, and just trying to make it a fun celebration that's meaningful to a lot of people, because our family can't express how meaningful it is to us. There's a lot of great stories and great things that have happened for everybody in these 100 years.
Well, Patrick, that's really everything I had for you here. Is there anything else you think our audience of distribution executives should know about Kimball Midwest, or any message that you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I just think, one, I thank you and the MDM group for putting this together and always being around to be supportive of what we do, whether it's the data or other elements that are there that are just great ways for us to learn and understand our industry, right? Because distribution is huge. And if there's anything the last 3 years have taught me, it's that distribution is also essential. It's a part of making sure that America can be up and running, play a role in that. And I think understanding then how we support each other, whether it's our competitors or even just similar sister industries, it's a great time to be in our business, and probably never been a better one. I think that there's a chance for us to support a lot of change, impact a lot of positive outcomes, and I think using these opportunities to make sure that we come together and do that is important. So I just appreciate the time. Grateful to take a minute or two and talk about our where we are and also where our industry is, and hope that we continue to be effective in that as we head into the future together.
Yeah, Kimball Midwest has certainly been a great company to watch with everything that you guys have had going on. And like you said, unfortunately, it almost took a pandemic to get a lot of outside people outside the industry to know how vital an industry distribution is. But hopefully that exposure has helped the industry just in terms of people knowing what this industry, the great things that it does. So, Patrick, that's everything I had for you. Thanks for joining the MDM podcast.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.